Destiny podcast. Welcome to the broadcast. This is episode 29 of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. We broadcast live on YouTube every other Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or is it Eastern Daylight Time now? I forget. Anyway, I'm Sultime, and I am joined today by, the usual cast plus one. So we have Romance Girl. We have Green Stego here today. We have Sallybug. And Ghost is joining us for the first time live on the podcast, which we are very thankful for, since he actually plays the game compared to the rest of us, which is helpful when talking about a video game. It helps if you've actually played it. So, welcome everybody.
Most of us just like to talk about it.
We usually we usually say good morning, but I believe it's good afternoon for Ghost. Is that right?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, it's afternoon. Okay. Well, so what's everybody been doing in Destiny? Let's start with that before we get into the TWABS, because the TWABS aren't very meaty. The last two just had a few key points, not a lot there. And we're hoping to wrap up this podcast a little bit quicker today because I want to get on and try some Legendary Lost Sector soloing, which, I'm anxious to do. I haven't done that yet. So, what you been up to over there in Texas, Stego and Romance? Have you played any Destiny in the last 2 weeks since we last did one of these things?
Oh, yes, we have.
Oh, for sure.
We've been keeping up with the Helm quest and with that story that's progressing. We haven't yet this week, though.
Oh.
I was just going to say, it's like we got to be careful with spoilers because there's going to be...
We have to be careful with the spoiler, the big cutscene.
No, we already know the cutscene.
Yeah, we
saw the cutscene.
Oh, okay.
All right, but maybe
that was fun. We did that last night, actually.
But maybe Ghost hasn't done it yet.
I was actually awake, and I saw you guys in Discord. I was like, "Oh, that's a strike. They're doing it."
Yeah, so you knew what we were up to.
Wait, you were awake? That was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
And ...
And he's awake now for us, so...
Yeah. The reason
thankful.
we haven't had Ghost on the podcast at all is because it's a casual players podcast. I'm just kidding. JK. Joking on that one. No. Actually...
I thought that cutscene was brilliant.
Oh, my gosh.
That was...
Holy cow.
I saw the comparison. I saw the comparison between, obviously, Aldrin killing Cade on the floor and then Zavala picking the crow's hand. Like,
oh my
I
God.
know, so
chills.
good.
I'm getting
So
chills
good.
just thinking
Images.
about it. Yeah. It's probably one of the, like, I've had some key moments that you'll never forget with Bungie storylines. And one of them was the Flood in Halo, the original Halo. I remember just like freaking out when I found out what was going on there. And this one was up there. It was actually up there. When I saw him reach for that ghost, oh my God.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I had said, like, literally like 15 minutes earlier going, I'm really loving the way they're evolving the Crow story. And the way that story is evolving this season, not having any idea what was going to happen in the storyline, and so it was just like great. It was,
yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the way they're handling it.
And you know what? This drama can be tracked back to the fact that they killed Cade. They had to do that to create this level of drama that's continuing.
another comparison
Man.
Zavala's ghost getting taken out, like Cade's almost did. Well, Cade's
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, there was a lot of symbolism going on.
And I actually was thinking of, for the Touch of Grimoire, trying to get some information on that rogue Scion, and then I realized, I was like, I don't know if I want to go spoilers yet, so I
Oh yeah, because I actually introduced that information yet.
Right. So if you can data mine it, but it's not like out in the game. So just want to.
Yeah, it feels like almost like the Crow storyline. It should be cliche, but it's not. It feels original and true to the characters.
Absolutely, it's so good.
It just feels very sincere, and I'm hooked like the rest of the Destiny community.
Yeah, the story, it really just, it feels like redemption, but in like more ways than just like, it's like layered, and for more than one, because like it didn't go like a vengeance route either, and so like it was a beautiful moment in storytelling.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, and Crow doesn't know anything about his past either, right? So he is just acting as a guardian to protect Zavala. That's kind of what his motivation has been ever since figuring out that there was a potential hit on him. So it's just awesome. I love this. I love this storyline. I love the way.
Is it just me, or am I starting to kind of
evolving?
Have a lot of respect and almost like the bad guy in this case? Like Keidel's upstanding. They've given her some.
Yeah, Kaidal is a very good character as like a sympathetic adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that cutscene when she grabs that scion.
I know.
And then she's like, she looks like she's freaking out when she looks at Zavala like, I didn't order this. Like he was gonna kill her or something.
They're making us cheer for the bad guy, and that's so cool.
I mean, I don't know if Keidel necessarily is really the bad guy here, because if you read the lore and her lore story in that lore book, it's like this is asking the Guardians to bend a knee was kind of her only option to try to get the Cabal on her side, but her motivation has always been to get on the side of the Guardians, to have there be an alliance.
Yes.
Like that was her motivation all along.
I can see
like
that.
In order as a leader of the Cabal, she knew in order for the Cabal as a race to survive, we need to forge an alliance. We can't just keep fighting against them.
It'd be cool
if that was her motivation all along anyway, and she ended up doing these proving grounds as a way to, and asking the Guardians to bend a knee as a way to get the rest of the Cabal to kind of go along with that idea. It was like what she had to do.
I think they're setting.
Yeah, I don't see her as the villain.
You don't see her as what?
I don't see her as a villain.
No.
No.
In fact, I think they're setting us up for a mini game strike in which you get to control Kaidal.
No, they're not. That's ridiculous.
Boo. No, it's not. I want it.
Right.
I mean, there's always going to be Cabal.
You can want it all you want. It's just not going to happen.
Wait, we got to control the Cabal in Destiny 1, didn't we? Or was that just a dream I had?
That was a dream you had.
We get to ride their vehicles.
I mean,
but I bet Destiny 3, choose a side. You can make a Cabal guardian.
Yeah, he's remembering. He's remembering going into Vault of Glass, and you pick up the Aegis, and you turn into a Cabal Fallon.
Kinda. Sorta. Not really.
Kinda, sorta.
Not really. Oh, man.
I mean, they've got potential, though. They could, like, turn any of a race into a Guardian. I think that'd be...
Yeah, add a fourth race to Guardians. I like that idea.
I think that would be...
Right. Because so far it's just been Awoken, Exo.
And Human.
And Exos are just a human once removed, right? They're
so are Awoken in a way.
Or Awokens, right?
Yeah.
So they all have a foot in the door of the human.
They have human origins. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
A foot in the door, so to speak.
Now, before we move on, we have some relevant comments in the chat.
Okay.
Okay.
These are from your friend Funny Bone.
Funny Bone, who's on toddler duty today.
Who is pleading for no spoilies but I think he's just
too late.
hopping on.
Oh, are there other people listening who might?
Well,
I
listen,
doubt it.
he goes on to say, they did such a good job avoiding cliche.
Yes.
How unique Crow's story is with his previous life as Aldrin just gives it such an original depth.
It really does. I mean, and what a great! It's just amazing. The whole thing, the storytelling in this, and who was it? There was a podcast I was listening to. It was a Destiny related podcast, and I wish I could remember which one it was, but I think it was actually The Last Word, and they were talking to Mylan. And they were talking about how the depth of the story is so amazing, but most of it is out of game, right? Like not, and that's why I like this season is so much better at like engaging the average players who are playing with the storyline and what's going on. And there's still a lot of storyline. Right, there's still a lot of storyline that's happening in the background. You still have to, like, for instance, like reading Keitel's motivation and what her background is, you know, between her war champion getting corrupted by Savathun and her dad going off the deep end, wanting to commune with the darkness. Like shit, like the motivation of where, like, what she's doing is still not in the game. But there's so much else in the storyline that is.
I don't think you could. I don't think those are fair critiques all the time, because I don't think you could put that much story in the game.
But
at the end of the day, it's a first-person shooter. It's not. You can't have that many.
Right. Exactly.
Cutscenes.
Exactly. And it's
That's
just
what
like
the Grimoire's
if you're just right. It's what the Grimoire's for.
Exactly.
It's what the lore's for.
I'm fine with the lore being.
The
lore is there. Yeah. And the story is there if you want it, and if you want to find out more, or if you could just go on. All
right, Sultan, you want to share what's so funny?
I'm sorry. Funny Bone goes on to say in chat, the character with the same face coming back to life has only been done as well at all in Beer Fest. But I have to point out to him, John Woo's blockbuster 1997 action thriller Face Off, starring John Travolta and Nick Cage, also pulled it off.
Did they really pull it off, though? That one was
no, probably not.
As well.
He said as well.
Asterisk is as well.
Yeah. Well, he also said at all, so I'm just adding
or
that.
at all.
I'm throwing.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that marshmallow.
I'm
into
sure
the
there's
fire.
been other amnesia stories, out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Are we including all the various amnesia plot points from As the World Turns and Days of Our Lives?
No,
well, we could, but that would be a 10-hour long episode.
I was wondering if this topic
a very
had
special episode.
It feels like this could have definitely been taken on in an anime series. I just wouldn't know.
Oh, for sure. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Now, I wonder, because I've been on the GlideCon a couple times now. And I will say that that mentioning about like how there's so much information in the story that's not like present in the narrative that you experience in that first person,
right,
through the gun scope. But I do recall it being kind of enriched by my knowledge of the fall of Torabottle when going on the GlideCon and we hear the voice of the dead, and we get like a little hint from Keitel just saying that she was just someone from my past, and like her mentor, I think. And so I think that it was that from the podcast that we read, from the story that we read, the Grimoire, Touch of Grimoire.
Right.
I want to say last pod, maybe it was pod. Anyway, could someone who's been to the GlideCon more, like, say, like, how much more of Keitel's story do we get by revisiting the GlideCon? Is there anybody?
That would be Ghost. I've been a few times.
Ghost, are you getting the GlideCon?
I don't think there's any additional voice lines in it.
Yeah, she talks a little bit with Zavala. I think Is there some dialogue there between?
No, Zavala doesn't speak. It's only Osiris.
Osiris. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I
she and
thought,
Osiris.
I felt like
some dialogue.
Like when you
But
go,
I think there
and
might
you
be
do,
some lore on the ghost when you get it, because the ghost, you can get the ghost now in a way, but it's like a
Right.
3-week thing. You got to find
Gilgamesh, right?
Yeah, you got to find like 15 clues, and they spread across 3 weeks. So on reset, I'll be able to finally get it, and maybe there's probably some lore on it.
Richard, what's the name of that ghost? Do you remember the name of that? Gilgamesh, that's right, yeah.
Gilgamesh, yeah.
And that's probably not accidental, knowing Bungie, right?
Of course not.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anything is accidental. They do put a lot of thought into that. Maybe some things.
Yeah, like Master Rahul.
I think some things can just be there because they sound cool.
Do you mean Master Ives?
Let's not go there.
What do we think is the chance that somebody thought up the name Gilgamesh completely independently?
It's like if you have enough monkeys and typewriters, you'll eventually get one of Shakespeare's sonnets. Nah. The probability
like it just
is, while non-zero is extremely low.
All right.
Let's move along to the TWABS, because like I said, I do want to hop on that legendary Lost Sector today and try to get an exotic for my...
Are you trying to get off before the reset?
Yes.
Yes.
What time does that happen?
1 p.m.
1
Eastern Daylight Time.
Oh.
Are we in Daylight Time, by the way? I think we are. And the UK is soon to follow.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up. Let's go to the TWAB. We've got 2 TWABs to cover, but luckily they were kind of skimpy wimpy on the TWAB scene here. So the 18th
just
of
kind
March.
of reiterating things that had dropped, right?
Yes, they acknowledged the tragedies that particular tragedy at that time that occurred. Bungie, being very community oriented, always reaches out and helps with those things. Grandmasters started kicking off back then, and we have our own master of Grandmasters in his house here today. That would be Ghost, since I have not ever completed a Grandmaster myself. Iron Banner announcement. They didn't announce I don't think they announced the change to matchmaking there. Clear Eyes.
I think they did that the second, right? That actually came out 2 days after.
Yeah.
It released.
It released, yeah. Yeah, this week, right? This past week.
Right.
Iron Banner and Bonus Valor is March 23rd through March 30th, so you have a couple more days for that if you're interested. I can't be bothered with Iron Banner for some reason. I'm too into all the other stuff that's going on right now for me.
You mean personally. I'm calling it?
I'm calling it, and that's they finally admitted that's a thing. It wasn't just me. Turns out it wasn't just me.
They did put in a patch. But then they had to reverse that patch, and so it's only active in solo.
It's only active at, what do they call the solo? The freelance or something?
Freelance. Yeah, Iron Banner freelance.
Yeah. And also, they announced on this earlier TWAB that they fixed the damage problem with the Eyes of Tomorrow. Right? I don't think in this one they mentioned about the drop rate being a problem. Oh yeah, they did. Drop rate change.
Yeah, they've.
I mean, okay. I'm glad you finally got one. Like someone got one when we ran it.
We ran it. Yeah, I ran it with the lads. Sally and I and the lads ran it earlier this week, and it dropped for me. I don't do this very often, but I think I'm gonna throw this out there, and at the risk of being burned at the stake, but I feel like there's a little sleight of hand going on here with saying, oh, it was just the only problem we investigated it. The only problem was it was account wide. It was not account wide. It was only character.
Green Stego thought the same thing.
Okay, so I'm not nuts. and then all of a sudden it drops for me. It's RNG.
No,
I get
Green
it.
Stego didn't accuse them of lying. He thought maybe that the bug that they had identified as being account wide versus character based was actually just a larger bug, and they didn't. He didn't think it was insidious when he didn't.
It was more like I was thinking.
It was more like it was a bug that fixed other bugs.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that
I didn't really think it might have been insidious, but I thought that might have been the larger thing, and they just omitted the fact that it was also affecting character
or quietly raise the percentage rate.
Right.
That's kind of where I am.
It certainly is encouraging, right? That you got it, and it's I'm
Also,
almost
Sally,
encouraged.
you finally got the helmet.
Yep.
I finally got the helmet.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And I master worked it right away so that I could get that season challenge.
My gosh.
I was
Straight up,
holding.
huh?
I actually finally got the cloak when I did the raid a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well,
people
so,
are.
Yeah, and so now that I'm fully loaded out, I'm like almost at that point of saying, "Oh, hey, maybe I should go in with a different character." I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a bit. I think it's a bit coincidental. Like with 1K voices, Romance Girl got it first, and then Soul Time got it straight after, and that's when everyone decided to start getting it. So I was just like,
that's just the way it goes.
It's happening again.
It's a repeat. That means I'm going to get it last.
Yeah, to clarify to our many listeners, there's like an ongoing pattern where I get the raid exotic drop, our first raid completion, and then there's like a long period where no one else gets it. And now a new pattern is emerging where Soul Time is the second to get it.
Yeah.
So maybe now the floodgates have opened.
There's another layer to this story.
For Eyes of Tomorrow.
There is another layer to this story that Romance Girl is omitting, where she does not use the cool raid exotic because there is such like guilt associated with it.
No, I knew that. I knew that.
She feels guilty. She hasn't used Eyes of Tomorrow.
I used it one time to get some rocket launcher.
So Romance Girl too. It's just like
well, use it now that it's had a buff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so sweet.
I mean, I finally, since that raid completion, I finally bought Terrorburst, and now I have all of them. But
have you released the beast?
I'm only 40 of those things away.
I went into the
Isn't it insane? I laugh out loud involuntarily every time I release the beast on Terraba because it just feels like I hacked the game somehow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually the next thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to like just farm the.
So you should stay on your same character, Sally Bug, because
save your spoils.
If you do it more than once on your same character, you get spoils of conquest.
Right, so I could do it again this
but you would have to run it
for
twice.
anybody who wants to run it and then get some spoils.
I think Logan and Nicholas still want to run it.
Some of my spoils on trying to get that helmet, right? Opening up the random boxes, and of course they never give it to me.
What a big mistake that was.
Like, it was a big mistake, but I gambled.
So all you casual players out there, save your spoils. Don't open that chest at the end of if you manage to do the.
Right. You got a 1 in 4. You've got a 25% chance because I think it or 25 to 33. I can't remember. It's 3 or 4 items. A chance for one of the 3 or 4 items, so it reduces the pool, but it's still not that great. So.
All right, let's get through this, TWAB.
Yeah. Let's move on. Moving on. There's not really anything else.
No, there's nothing really else in this one. Let's go back. Let's go to the latest TWAB here. This is the March 25th TWAB this week at Bungie. And they talk about the new strike, Proving Grounds, which we did for the first time last night. Sally Bug, myself, and Funny Bone.
Did we touch upon Grandmasters at all?
We mentioned.
I just know that one's going to be a pain in the ass next week for Grandmaster.
We mentioned it.
Which one is it next week?
The Proving Grounds.
Oh,
is it?
I haven't done the strike yet. I haven't done that strike.
Oh,
okay. So we won't spoil too much, but you will enjoy the Proving Grounds. I guarantee you. It's a pretty decent strike. It's just fun to go into a new place with a new mechanic and.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
I totally enjoyed it as well.
Very much.
And I like the way they integrated your first run into the storyline. It was very classy and perfect.
I just hope that strike sticks around after the season's gone.
Oh yeah,
I would
it will.
imagine it's going to.
They're definitely gonna, I think, looking to expand that strike.
I mean, they put the lore in the game, like as a title saying, we said we would leave, and we will. We'll leave the solar system, and any cabal that's left are fair game for you. So it's like kind of open the window for the rogue cabal who
make it sound like we're bloodthirsty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
We kind of are.
So, we don't have to go into too much detail about the Proving Ground strike, especially since not everybody's done it yet. You'll enjoy it. Look forward to it. Round of stasis tuning for the Crucible they mention, and I think there's a lot of details about that. I have not gone into the Crucible very much at all, to be honest. So I don't know what the state of
I had a few Iron Banner games.
Is it still pretty bad? The stasis?
I wouldn't say it's as bad. Like with the Hunter Shuriken, that used to like practically one hit in Crucible. It doesn't now.
Okay. All right. So that's I would call that an improvement, right? So at least I don't know if it's an improvement.
It's still incremental. It sounds like just incremental improvement.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen titles of a lot of YouTube videos going up about it, people commenting on it, but I just haven't had the moment to look at those to check in with that. So people are readjusting strategies. Warlocks have also been taking Mantle of Battle Harmony for a spin in the Iron Banner. What is that? Mantle of Battle Harmony. Does anybody know what that is? It's an exotic, right?
Oh, that's the Warlock, the new Warlock exotic, yeah.
It's a new Warlock exotic? Okay. Yeah.
That may be something that you could try to get. Here. Would it fall? You're going to go try to get. That's why we're going to finish.
Yeah, if we can finish this
legendary
in time.
Lost Sector.
Yeah, I keep getting sidetracked.
My RNG was crap for my Warlock because I tried doing it for the Warlock, ran it like 7 times. I didn't even get any glimmer or anything. One time I just got nothing.
I've had that happen.
I'm actually I think I would have been totally pissed if I had done that legendary Lost Sector and didn't get anything, because it's not a guaranteed drop, right?
No, it's not.
Honestly,
no, not at all.
Sally Bug, it's the only time I've ever seen you cry with joy from playing Destiny was when you beat that Lost Sector.
Were you crying?
She was.
I was not crying.
She was sobbing.
Also,
with joy.
Note, we're going to circle back just a little bit, and you know what's interesting is the first legendary Lost Sector that was completed on Romance Girl's account as well also resulted in the exclusive exotic drop.
Nice.
Very cool.
Are we just lucky, or is it a guaranteed drop going on?
Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's talk about Crucible a little bit before we move on. Has anyone gone into the Crucible? And the only Crucible I've done in the last 2 weeks was I had that Mayhem bounty where you have to get like super kills and Mayhem from week 1, the seasonal challenge. Mm-hmm. And since it's Mayhem this week, I got on, and I'm going to say I think my luck was because Iron Banner is going on that
and Trials that the pool that I had to go up against was easier. But I noticed that there was a lot, at least in Mayhem, there certainly was a lot.
Yeah, I really am having trouble taking an analysis of the pool in Mayhem seriously.
I had a few games elimination, and everyone was doing Jotun.
Yeah, Jotun is a thing for sure.
It's so annoying because they were a distant. They were out in the open, and when we tried to go in the open, they were just Jotun.
Jotun everywhere.
Are you noticing less stasis?
We still won though.
With the Crucible? You've done trials too.
Not this weekend. Not yet.
But okay. Not
well,
since
we'll be running it though. It is the pulse rifle, and I'm looking for a better roll on mine.
Changes.
This is a question for Ghost. In your Iron Banner experience, did you experience less I'm calling it?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I think the games were practically even, the ones I played.
Yeah, so I think that's
nice.
snake racking up using the snake method, they call it.
What did they say? The
pointing
playground
players.
or schoolyard?
Yeah, so in a way, this is it's you can't really call it skill-based matchmaking, but it is a form of skill-based matchmaking.
Well, it's balanced.
They did say they had to pull it back though.
If I run on Banner again,
that's right. You mentioned that. I didn't see that.
I'd probably run it on my Warlock.
It was on Twitter.
They also
it's only in Iron Banner.
Yeah, it was creating issues with matchmaking. So they had to pull it for just the team matchmaking.
Right.
But it's still this. It's called Schoolyard Pick or Snake Draft, and they it's still in effect in the freelance. Is your understanding?
Isn't that they put the best player on
it was
the
a very weirdly worded.
Yep.
Yeah.
As well as third.
Yeah, it was a weirdly worded tweet, but I had to read it like 3 times. But I think what it meant was because I couldn't figure out which one was getting deactivated.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which one was keeping it. But I think Solo was keeping the fix.
The schoolyard
pick.
Right. And they were disabling it in team matchmaking. Yes.
That makes sense. That makes the most sense.
All right.
But that's good to hear that from Richard that there's much less I'm calling it.
It gives hope, and I like that they're paying attention to matchmaking because everyone knows it's a problem. So just any kind of changes that they want to test out is welcome right now.
Yeah.
Better than nothing, which is what we've had.
I mean, and the only thing that I'm going to add is just still trying to advocate for us lower tiered players to, like, you have these bounties that Lord Saladin has, and they're much harder to get.
I still think the bounties take too long.
They take too long for anyone.
Ones
but
where
you imagine
where your
the player
count towards your progress.
Right. But if you're the player,
like you're working
who,
on the bounty as a team,
gets 5 to 7 kills max per game, especially when you have those top tier players, you're always going to be. And I've accepted that I'm going to be there, but it's frustrating that that progress is so slow.
Yeah.
But
they talk about.
So yeah, I haven't really been motivated to get into that.
I don't. But on the other hand, I can see that they don't want to make it easy. Like they don't want it to just be like hop in for a couple games and you get your Iron Banner armor and then you hop out. Like they want it to still feel like a competitive mode.
I think they
and
should
that
change
it's hard.
the power advantage thing. Like you have to be lower power to get more progress, because even then, if you're lower, it's harder to get a kill because it's power advantage.
Well, that's why that's why you get more progress, because it would be harder.
But the balance, right? The artifact is disabled, right, in Iron Banner?
Yep.
So
yeah, it's brutal. I don't like and that restriction on armor is brutal in weapon choice.
I think that's going to improve along with a lot of other things like
with the
eligibility system to Grandmaster Nightfalls when they only bump it up 10 next season. That's going to be nice for a lot of us players who don't have as much time to hop on and grind. I
think it'll also like force me to like actually pay attention to which pinnacles I'm going for every week. Because right now it's just like kind of if they happen, they happen.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm doing.
So far, I haven't been able to think of any negative side effects from just bumping it up 10, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
it'll give Richard some more time to play other games.
Yeah, about that.
It's certainly encouraging that for the casual player they actually have a potential of having more access for some of that higher end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Funny Bone says I'll be able to do IB next season. So yeah, it's a huge boon for people who don't have as much time to just dedicate to leveling up.
You have a demanding job and kids and things, you know, but you still love the universe and want to participate in some of those challenges. It's going to be great for us overall, I think. Less time worrying about your power level and more time worrying about your loadout. Finally learn about some of these mods that I never use, you know. I'm just starting to get into, like, Sallybug, you were double stacking ammo finders and things today to help yourself out in the Lost Sector, right?
Right.
Something we never, we're like, these stack? Okay, all right. 2 scavengers.
I never can remember which stacks and which doesn't.
2 rocket launcher stacks.
Which Lost Sector were you trying today?
Perdition.
It's the legendary up until another hour.
I'm excited. Yeah, we need to like finish this up so Soul Time can give it a go.
I do want to give it a go, but I don't want to rush anything as well. But so, do we want to hop right into our special segments, or would you rather just talk nonsense some more?
We're talking Destiny. It's not nonsense.
Exactly. nothing Destiny is nonsense. All right. Let's get into the grimoire.
Okay, so let me introduce the special segment. It is time for a touch of grimoire with Sallybug. Take it away, Sallybug.
So, because we did the legendary Lost Sector and its Arc Burn and Overload Bow and all of that, I decided to pull out my Trinity Ghoul with a lot of success. I really enjoyed it, and it's like, wow, I forgot how good this is, especially with its masterwork.
I was going to ask you, the catalyst?
Oh yeah, it's just like it's just like you hit as soon as you get that lightning with the catalyst. As soon as you get that lightning rod, and all you have to do is do damage to someone, right? And then it's just like so satisfying to just like shoot it again and like just see 3 or 4 enemies, especially in horde mode. So then I ended up taking it into like after we did the Lost Sector, I just kept it equipped and took it into the battlegrounds, and it was so good and so much fun in the battlegrounds. So I was like, wow, I almost forgot about Trinity Ghoul and how good it is. So I was having a lot of fun with it, and so I decided to take a look at the grimoire from the Trinity Ghoul. And Stego, do you want to do your thing where you read the grimoire for Trinity Ghoul and we can take it from there?
Sure. Trinity Ghoul. I couldn't afford to miss, not when it was his life on the line. Marin Mansanis? Tangled outright. Marin Mansanis. The rifleman's voice hissed over her comm. I did not think you would show. Marin spat onto the dusty ground, scuffed it with the heel of her boot, squinted across the flat, dusty expanse of the high plain, ignored the rifleman to address the other person on the channel, ex-Corsair Errol Mays, who stood alone just over 700 meters from her position, with his hands bound behind his back and a canister of ether balanced on his head. Errol, you son of a tech witch. She could see his shoulders shift in an attempt at a casual shrug. His gruff voice tickled her ear through the comm. Sorry, Rin. You know the wager. The rifleman didn't like to be ignored. Get on with it. If you think you can make the shot. Marin's eyes flick to the hills of rubble dotting the high plains, looking for the rifleman's perch. Almost a sure thing the four-armed lunk on the far ridge was just another of the braggart's decoys, but no point risking Errol's life over a guess. I can make the shot, and I expect you to honor this wager when you're down a K of ether and I'm walking out of here with Maze. Rough alien laughter was the only reply. She pulled 3 arrows out of her quiver and whispered, "Palm, whatever happens, don't come out." Her ghost answered her with a pulse of warmth in her left hand. 2 arrows she tucked into her belt. The third she knocked to her old friend, Trinity Ghoul. Errol's voice returned so low she could almost feel hot breath on her ear. "Hey, Rin, don't talk, don't breathe. Just don't miss, okay? Good idea. You know what I mean." Marin pulled the ghoul taut, lined up her shot with the canister perched atop Errol's scruffy blue head. "Yeah, I know."
There we have it. So I did a little research here, and obviously we have the characters from the Forsaken, the Rifleman, which was a great, like, let's just
all those Barons were great.
Remember, all the Baron fights were so good. That was done so well. I loved that. I loved how that for a while that was like your you went in and did that once a week. I forget. I don't think they come up anymore, do they?
The Rifleman?
Just the Baron fights. Remember, it would be the if the Tangled Shore was the Flashpoint. I'm not even sure they do Flashpoint.
No, that's done.
I think they were adventures.
Yeah, adventures.
Right, they became the adventure, like if the Tangled Shore and they rotated.
Yeah,
it was cool to to give them some life after the initial storyline. So, but I did a little bit of research here on these characters, the 2 characters, Marin Mansanis and Errol Maze are the 2 characters, and Marin Mansanis just seems to be like what they're calling the Tangled Outrider. Not really sure what that means, except for, potentially just a guardian who patrols the Tangled Shore and tries to keep it somewhat in check, I guess, has been hired to. And it looks like she just takes on jobs from the Tangled Shore. And the other character, Errol Maze, and both of them make an appearance in the lore from Dusk Rock Blues. I'm not going to read that one, but I will encourage you to go and take a look at it and read that. And those 2 make an appearance in that. And I think this is after, but I can't tell which one came first. But in that story, Marin has lost her bow to the machinist, I believe, and has requested Errol to help her out and get that bow back. So that was fun as well. So there we have it. That's our grimoire for today.
You might call it a touch of grimoire.
It was a bit of a touch of grimoire today.
A bit of a
not
touch.
A whole, not very in depth, and it's like you can't go down. There's not like a huge rabbit hole for those 2 characters. They only appear in those 2 things. Actually, Errol Maze does show up in the flavor text of the Scatterhorn Helm. But other than that, there's no other appearance. Be interesting if they show up again.
Right.
Keep your eye out for them.
Keep your eye out. So we are going to sort of play off of the Touch of Grimoire with today's Sounds of Destiny sound check. So without any further ado, Destiny sound check. Yeah, we're going to do the sounds of look at the sounds, or listen to the sounds of the Trinity Ghoul. The sounds they do for bows in general are just pretty amazing. As far as in the whole sort of library of gun sounds in Destiny, but in particular the bows for me, especially the sort of the sound they make when you pull them back and load up and lock and load that arrow, and then when you let it go, the sort of space magic that they combine with what a traditional bow and arrow might sound like. So let's listen to the Trinity Ghoul in action here. Yeah, and so that was a series of fully loaded shots and then partial, just unloaded, just shooting it without pulling it all the way back that you could hear. And now let's listen to a fully loaded, locked shot, slowed down. This is, I think, 75-80% slower, and see if it reveals anything. There's the loading up. And here comes the shot. And what I like about that is that you can really hear the layering of a traditional, which sounds to my ears like a gunshot, but giving it a little high-end sort of synthesizer sound. An analog synth blended in with it to give it that space magic that it deserves. Now, I was unable to find an isolated sound of the catalyst at work with the lightning rod effect, but I did find a Reddit post of somebody complaining about some crackling sound in their headphones, which they traced to it. This is by Take the Poo to the Loo 6 months ago. Put in Reddit a few days ago, my headphones started to make a weird intermittent crackling sound. I thought my something had gone wrong. My audio system or my headphones were acting up. It was driving me mad. Spent hours, but I couldn't pinpoint what was causing it. Sometimes it would disappear and then come back. Turns out I'm just stupid. Bungie added a sound effect to the Trinity Ghoul's lightning rod buff, like crackling sparks. Man, I wish I was able to find a sound of that in time. While I do appreciate little details like that, Bungie, please, you almost gave me a heart attack. So I guess today's homework assignment is to, and Sally Bug, you especially, because I know you've got it equipped right now, go out and see if you can hear that. If you have headphones, I don't know if anybody plays the game with headphones here, but yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what that person is talking about.
Yeah, Funny Bone. Yeah, I want to get your. He got some fancy headphones that mix the game.
Get your ghoul on.
So get out that Trinity Ghoul and tell us how it sounds. So
yeah.
I just recommend it. Right, it's just something that it sits in your vault, but especially this season with Overload Bow, it's definitely a contender. Pull it out and have some fun with it.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd like to wrap things up if anybody else wants to contribute anything to the discussion? Speak now or forever shut up.
Well, I certainly enjoyed doing that legendary Lost Sector solo. I was very pleased with myself because I attempted it. I attempted it 2 or 3 other times to no avail, and very frustrated, and thought, okay, this is just not something that I have the skill level to do. I'm not going to be able to do it. But with some encouragement from both Ghost and Romance Girl saying, just have to wait. You do have the skill level. We know you do. You just have to wait until the right recipe is up, because some of them are definitely harder than others. So
yeah,
and I got the
congrats to Sally Bug
Blackout
Omnioculus or whatever it was. So good. I'm so excited to just put it on and have fun with it.
I'm excited for Soul Time to get his chest piece.
Yeah, when I got the Necrotic Grasp on my Warlock, it was like an arc damage boost. They're so cool. It was on an arc damage boost, and the Chaos Reach Blast one-shot the boss.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
It's not the boss I'm worried about. I'm worried about the champions, getting them down solo.
Yeah, the boss is pretty easy. The champions are the harder one, but well, you'll figure it out. If I can do it, you can do it for sure.
Yeah. Ghost, any advice for those of us out soloing the Lost Sectors?
I mean, it kind of depends on which one it is, but
yeah.
Perdition.
I'm going to give a shout out.
It's Perdition right now.
It's Perdition right now, but it's going to change in less than an hour.
when you want to take time without one, because you'll have the wyverns.
Yeah, the wyverns are
right. I actually ended up taking those wyverns. I was just like, I am just going to take them out with my heavy. I'm not gonna fool around with them. They're a pain.
I think you should try
they're
to
red bars, but they're a frigging pain. They're a pain.
Rocket with Blast and Impression.
Have you tried Lament?
Yeah,
well, you can't do Lament if you have Trinity Ghoul, but
right. And I'm not. But also I actually ended up switching to Truth, but I'm not great.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not great with Lament yet. I haven't quite figured out the right recipe. I don't have the rhythm of it yet. I need to go with
Pelham had a really good tip. What was it? You block and then spam the melee and then do your heavy.
Right. And so I just need to practice with that to
hit it 3
get
times,
the right rhythm
and then heavy
and charging it up.
Yeah.
Also, I think it has to do with, because I do have an elite controller, and I tend to have the trigger stops on there, but I think with Lament it's better to not have that trigger stop so you can rev it up more. Anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, what I like about Lament though too is that if you get it active, you get a little heal in.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know about that.
Is
it part of the package?
Perk.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is always good for me. I always like to get healed.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Esoteric. His videos, he's got some really good stuff, and he's probably one of the greatest PvE players that does content creation, I think.
And I like that he does it quiet, right? Like, for those of you who just don't who don't need to hear the advice. Like, sometimes other content creators talk a lot and give you a lot of advice that way, but with him, he just
throws
it up on
cough.
the screen. Throws it up on the screen.
Wow.
So
Oh my. It's been a great podcast.
Right. You have less than an hour to get that chess piece.
We're in a hurry to play Destiny this round, but I gotta say, it's been great having Ghost join us. It's just like I feel like we're raiding with Ghost in here. Now, if we could just convince Pelham to come on one of these times, we'd have the original sort of minions raid team, which would be great. And hope you can come on again in another 2 weeks. Ghost, if you're around and you have the time, you're always welcome to come on here. You give us a definitely have that grandmaster.
We get a little bit of that hardcore
grandmaster insight.
A little taste of hardcore.
A little taste of hardcore
that we don't always get down
within
here
our
in our sector of the world, universe, whatever.
So.
Anyway. All right, I'm going to wrap it up with the closing theme. You've been listening to the Paracasual Destiny podcast. This was a short episode, but we are looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, stay frosty and be good. Get good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 All right, we're